spring-like, 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 good. Good, Christine. To me, always. Shaking of the legs, vibration.
Hello. Pictures defy words, so all I need to do is tell you that tonight's What They Do is about the build-up to The Rite of Spring, a forthcoming production by the Gibraltar Youth Theatre. We went along to rehearsals and discovered that mammoth productions don't happen just by accident.
Try not to anticipate. Good. That works. Remember what I explained to you about South American Indians? And North American?
Igor Stravinsky wrote the score to The Rite of Spring between 1910 and 1912, and from the outset it was destined to be a great work. But let's hear producer Mario Arroyo explain it all.
I think that Stravinsky, although he didn't go too deeply into the use of folkloric music and that, he definitely was thinking about spring, obviously, you know? And as Gino comments in his, Gino Sanguinetti, who was doing the sets to begin with and then has done the explanation for the program, he says that he thought of it as the cracking of ice to begin with, and out of this death that is winter, spring arose. Nijinsky used peasant costume in the whole thing, and he uses ideas from the Russian peasants. I've based some of my dances on photographs that I've seen of Nijinsky's choreography, but I've based many of the steps, etc., on Red American Indian dances, like canoe dances and awakening rituals and the ritual of the woman giving birth. And all these things obviously very, very abstracted, and at times it could be difficult to recognize them as such, no? But I think that the feel finally will bring through that the whole thing is about rebirth, no?
Gino Sanguinetti developed the final design from a set of drawings and constant attention to Mario's advice and arguments.
I wonder why we gave up so many of the designs that we did.
It's strange. I think, well, this was the first one, going back and going through all of them.
I remember being quite pleased with that one when you did it.
Yes, I mean, we have, strangely enough, one of the ideas which later evolved in the choreography, the idea of the circles. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't very happy with this one at all. I didn't think it suited the drama studio at all.
Yeah.
And from that circular idea, I remember we moved on to this one.
Yes, and we were very strong on the idea of mobiles at the time.
Mobiles, definitely. And the idea of the two levels. And I remember discussing with you the whole business of having the top half darker than the lower half, so as not to
So we had the earth quality on low, and then we gave the sky idea. I remember that I didn't like
those mobiles
because they were somehow they were bird-like, and I felt we couldn't get away.
And too geometrical, I remember.
Too geometrical, yeah.
And from that to
that is getting closer to what we've ended up with.
The mobiles
remember the eyes
have developed again, taking a much more, you could say, surreal aspect, and the background has changed much darker.
Of course, we kept the idea of the eyes. We didn't put them into mobiles, but we put them into the makeup on the hands.
On the hands.
Of the priest.
The eyes, which is the everything.
And again, this is getting closer to what we have. So as
the design here has gone vertical to merge more with the bars of the drama studio.
The obstacles, those. But looking at the set, you know, I think we've overcome.
Yes, we've camouflaged them quite well. And this was
when you were desperate.
Completely new one. Change of color, change of ideas. Because I thought it would be a good idea to, after going through so many different designs, to start completely anew and try and find new ground.
I remember liking the quality of color in this one, very much. But then we decided that also the business of lighting, that if we had the red, it would so strongly wouldn't be neutral enough. It
too
would
much with the dancing at the bottom.
Oh yes, this one I remember why I liked this one. There was.
It's very monumental. Yeah. Very monumental, and I wish instead of having it painted like we had the set, that it would be a real sculpture, you know, sort of Henry Moore. I think there is a lot of Henry Moore in this.
I think it would have been very interesting to have worked with the idea.
Been very interesting to work with volume instead of the two-dimensional.
And having seen what the curtain does to the body, that the moment that we put really high curtains, the figures become diminutive. I think that this would have added to that effect.
Which goes in many ways back to that.
Yes.
In many ways.
Yes.
It's all pointers backwards and forwards. This business of finding the set, and finally, this was the last one, the definitive one, going to the bare essentials.
Yes. Black. Never wanting something that takes too much light in the center.
That's it.
So that it gives a sense of depth that you can go into.
And the idea of explosion coming out from a dark point of the earth. And from that develops to
what we have.
Mario has had more than just a few problems in the production of the Rite of Spring, and his consistency has seen him through a financial crisis. Let him tell us about the faith his cast have in him.
For example, these people, besides working their guts out, have financed this. They've each given me a loan, their parents or themselves, the ones that are working, to be able to cost the things like costumes. You can't imagine just leotards and tights, the expense. 400 and I don't know, I nearly died. And then I proposed to them, look, lend me the money. And they've all come up and they've all lent me the money. And I hope that I'll be able to pay them back. At least half. But they're working, it shows their enthusiasm really, because I had one mother, and I'm not going to mention names, who came up to me and said, you know, for the good of dance, I'll lend you whatever money you need. I didn't take that, because I felt that it shouldn't come from a private. It should come from other people, I don't know.
The development of ideas for the makeup for the dancers has been the subject of many experiments. The results of Johnny Pierce's artistic flair and detail will of course have to be seen on the night of the performance, but on experimental nights the results have really been dramatic.
Is it okay in that black or more defined? Same.